Hey guys, I'm back. It's 2 days later, actually. Here we are with the 62 Cadillac Sedan Deville. We got it pulled into the barn. Haven't moved forward any since you guys saw last, so I figured I'd get you guys rolling with me. So, here's what we're working with. So, we know the thing's way out of time. Distributor's out right here. I got the new button, which isn't new, but new to this car. It's off another 62 Cadillac I used to have, and it was the old one when I put a new one on there, which is still in good shape. The one that was initially on here, which was a brand new one, the guy had stripped the screws out, and it was just janky, so I just grabbed this one and the screws out of the box, because, well, that's something I do anytime I replace parts on something like of this era. I always throw the old parts in the box and sit them under my bench. So, we got that tightened down good because he had the rotor on there crooked as heck, where I can't even believe, it stayed like that. We got it cranking over good. I do have the plugs back in it. I'm going to pull the plugs back out. It's cranking over good, but we got a real loud noise that I keep hearing. And honestly, what I'm thinking it is I think that we have I think we got a valve stuck. I'm thinking I'm hearing a valve hitting a piston. I know that it's hydraulic lifters in these, and the last one that I had, it sat for a long time. And when I first started it, it had quite a lifter noise, and then it went away after a couple minutes of running and warming up. So that's another possibility, but just to be sure before we get this thing fired up, let's get these valve covers off and then get the plugs back out. We'll actually pull the plugs out first and then the valve covers. I just want to verify that all our valves are moving up and down nicely before we officially start this thing. We don't want to eat a valve. Let's see if I can adjust this camera just a fuzz up. Alright, so let's get these plugs back out. The start trigger, I should just get somewhere safe where I'm not going to be pushing it by accident. Yeah, that looks safer, right? Something like that. Alright. So let's get all these plugs back out of this thing. It was just so dang cold outside working on it that I couldn't seem to get much done. So I needed to make her a home here in the shop, and things will move a little smoother in here, which is a good thing that I did when I did, because it started getting freezing here, literally. And where we had snow and whatnot, and when I got this thing in here, jacked it up, checked the fluids again, which I already did when I first bought it. I just wanted to see if anything's leaked out. No, nothing's leaked out, so that's good. The radiator's still completely full, but it was starting to gel up, or like turn into slush. It looked like a big old green slushy inside the radiator. Thankfully, it didn't freeze solid, but the guy that I had initially got it from, he told me right before I got there that he filled up the radiator, and now I know I got a feeling he just topped her off with some water for me, which would have been just fine. He initially thought I was going to be driving it home, which that was the plan. We got there. First thing I did, the ignition in the thing's screwed, so I popped it apart, just unplugged the ignition and used 2 wires to start cranking it and turn on the ignition. And when I say turn on the ignition, I guess I'm referring to making the coil hot. There's only 2 wires in there. Well, I got a red wire and then 2 other pins that I have to power up off that red wire in the ignition plug. And by doing so, you can hotwire this thing. So we did that initially after checking all the fluids and agreeing that we wanted the car. And starter was completely dead. Pulled the starter out, it was completely melted, which if you go back to my other video, you'll see me going through the starter, getting us the starter we have on here now. And yeah, so called around to the parts stores and nobody could get me a starter for about a week and a half. So I wasn't going to wait as far as to go there and get it running and whatnot again. So the starter killed us right away, and it is what it is. We'll get another one that we get the roadkill home, guys. Don't worry. We'll make it happen. We will make it happen. Wow. These valve covers are like finger tight, literally. That's not cool. No wonder this thing's so oily. Valve covers are loose. This creeper right here that I'm laying on, above engine creeper or something along those lines is what it's called. Let me tell you, this thing is awesome. It really, really just makes things a lot more pleasant. And I got to thank my love for getting me that. She's the best. One more plug down there we got to get out. This one's right under the generator. It's the only one that's really in a tight spot. It isn't terrible. You just got to drop the socket on it, then put your ratchet on it. And also take your ratchet out before you thread it all the way out, or else it gets stuck. Crazy Ohio weather. Go back about a week. We had a 70-degree day, and then like yesterday the high was 27, and today I don't think it's much warmer. This weather sucks. Leave it in the comments below. What's the best state to find the most rust-free cars and have the most mild climate year-round? I love my hometown and everything, you know, nothing wrong with where you grow up, but I am ready to leave Ohio. I don't like the winters, and I don't like how rusty the cars are. Got 2 bolts out of this valve cover. Looks like one of them is going to be a real pain, the one behind the generator. We'll see. Wow, every single one of these bolts is practically finger tight. Curious to see what it says torque specs are. I mean, they're only a 3/8 bolt, but they're just little guys, but they're definitely supposed to be tighter than what they are. These things are, I could have really, if I wanted to, probably taken them all out by hand. That's not cool. Makes me wonder if somebody was fooling inside these valve covers and never tightened back up. Let's see what our ticking noise is. Alright, we got 3 out of the 4, just as I suspected. 4th one, it's down below this generator. Let me get a little ratcheting wrench, that might do us just fine. Yep, this part of the wrench is too thick to fit on there, so we'll have to go to the open end. Good thing they're so loose, I ain't too worried about stripping it with the open end. They're just really loose. You can hear my 13-year-old lab probably starting to whine, wanting me to pet him. He's pretty needy anymore. He just thinks this is his place, and I'm lucky enough to be in it. Old dogs. Definitely the best shop dog ever. Let's hear, you guys got a furry friend in your shop? We can get 5 people to drop photos of their furry friends in the comments. Their shop dogs or shop cats or whatever you have. I'll post a picture of Bear. That's our shop dog. He's best at making sure rugs don't blow away. They'll never blow away when he's on watch. These heater core hoses and right in the way. Let's see here. Getting this little hold down for the spark plugs of the valve cover to the other side of these heater core hoses. I think that'll assist me in rolling this up out of here a little easier. That's what the bottom side's looking like. There's our top side. I don't know if you guys can see the original ones. They say Cadillac. That's cool. They sure don't look like the nice vibrant blue that the other Cadillac I had still had on it. So, okay. First appearance, yes. Definitely have one stuck valve, and let's see here if I can tell which valve it is, intake or exhaust. We got a stuck exhaust valve on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cylinder 6 exhaust valve is stuck. And that sounds about exactly where I heard that noise coming from. So I got a feeling when I'm cranking this thing over, the piston's actually pushing up the valve, and I'm hearing it pop back up and hit the rocker arm is the noise I'm hearing. Not 100% on that, but we'll find out now that I can see what's going on. And we'll see, actually, with this creeper, if I can reach the top side of the valve cover bolts on the driver's side so I don't have to move this thing. We'll just stretch all the way across it. Oh, yeah. Not a problem. Man, these things are finger tight, too. That's weird because the valve cover, as far as the gasket, it was pretty well stuck on there, so they've been on there quite a while. I just wonder if they've just never been off or something. And there's no lock washers, which I'd almost think that there should be, but I'm not 100% sure. And maybe they just rattled loose over the years. I don't know. Got top 2 out on this side. Let's go for the bottom 2 from this side. Hey, we got 3 of them now. All right, let's get our 4th. Oh yeah, it's, wow, just as loose as all the others. It's insane. So there's been these little T like hold downs or whatever under each one of the bolts, probably to make sure you don't bend the valve cover when tightening if you over tighten. And this last one on the driver's side valve cover is missing it. So we'll probably just throw a washer on there, which if I was a betting man, I'd have to say that's to help prevent anyone tweaking the valve cover by over tightening. Just a little stiffener right there where the bolts are. There we go. Got this one broke loose. Let's see if we can get it past these power steering lines now. It's coming up out of there. Come on. I know I said I was going to pull the spark plugs first, but I guess I got a little carried away. I got the spark plugs out on the passenger side. Then I did the valve cover. There we go. We got her out. And doesn't look too shabby in there either. On first appearance and feel, I do not believe we have any stuck valves. Crazy these cork gaskets didn't fall apart on me. They stayed intact. That's kind of cool. This valve cover's been painted silver at some time, so gray, silver. Tells me they've changed possibly that valve cover and or just had it off for some reason. This one was totally still the factory paint. It matched the motor and everything. Let's get the spark plugs out on driver's side. Once we do that, we're going to crank it over and watch this stuck valve on number 6. And I'm hooked on the spring. All right, I'm unhooked. Now we got to get the ratchet we dropped and got stuck on the frame rail. Of course, in the spot, I do not believe I'll reach from the bottom side. We'll give it a shot. Whenever I drop the tool, I always cross my fingers. I hear it hit the ground. It makes it a little easier getting them. Hey, we got it. We're just able to reach up in there and grab a hold of her. There you go. Got all these spark plugs popped loose. Guess I can't quite turn them just by the ends. Let's pop the sockets on. And there we go. Pop the socket on and I can twist them right out. As soon as I get all these plugs out, I'll pick up the camera and show you guys what this rocker arm assembly is looking like. You know, for as old as the vehicle is and not really knowing, and I got a feeling just from looking at these, it's been sitting a good while. Every bit of the 2 years that he says, that's for sure. We'll get some oil up here before we start it too. I'll just grab the oil can and kind of oil everything up. Help us avoid a dry start. All right, we got all 8 plugs out. Sweet. Now, let's go grab that start trigger. Or, well, here, let me show you guys what we got going on. Oh, wow, there's some sediment in that radiator. Whoa. That thing's going to need some serious flushage. Holy smokes. It's all right. We'll get that taken care of. The passages in this thing are massive where I can still see through them while I'm confident it'll clean up. All right, let's see if I can get you guys looking at these valves here. These stuck. I'll show you the stuck one on number 6. So I don't know if you guys can see this from the camera angle. Let me try bringing a light down here. All right. Can you guys see that? See and hear that? That guy shouldn't be like that. That valve's stuck down. So we got to get that guy freed up. That won't be a problem. We'll push it up with the... Let me go grab some oil. We'll get some oil around it, and then we'll push it up with the piston, cranking it over, and just work it back and forth, and it'll be just fine. I got confidence in it. As long as the valve ain't bent. I've used the piston to push up a lot of pistons, or used the piston to push up a lot of valves, and luckily I have not damaged one yet. Knock on wood. Hopefully I didn't just speak too soon. We shall see, though. So let's get this guy cranking. I'm gonna grab my little oil can. Get some oil around that guy. This guy works perfect. Stick right in a little hole on the rocker and just giving a squirt of oil to each one. Nice. We'll do it to the other side as well before we proceed cranking. All right, let's grab the start trigger and watch this valve once. If I was a bet man, our push rod is totally bent on cylinder 6. Exhaust. That sucks. Yeah, this push rod's bent. Big time. Man, that sucks. It's the only one looking like it. Of course, the stuck valve, and of course, it's my fault. I shouldn't have cranked this motor over till I pulled those valve covers, and I did. That's probably exactly what bent it. So it looks to me, I do believe our popping noise is these tappets getting stuck and popping back down from the sounds of it. That's what it looks like. So we're going to do what's right and just ignore that and add a bunch of oil and fire it up. First, though, I think we're going to pull that push rod and do a little redneck straightening to it and see if we can at least get this motor to fire up. I know I got to at least straighten it out. Yeah, that sounds right? Man, that sucks. I bent a push rod. Dagnabbit. Alright, well, to get that guy out, which isn't a bad idea so I can work with this stuck valve, I need to lift this whole rocker arm assembly up out of here. So to do so, we got 4, looks like 3/4 bolts. I stand corrected. Smaller than 3/4. Let's see. Probably gonna be 11/16. I can't think it's any smaller than this. It might be the 5/8, but I don't think so. Nope, 11/16. Alrighty. Let's go through and get this guy broke free. Ooh, there's our last one. Broke free. Let's go through and I'm just going to work back and forth, evenly taking them all out. We're getting there. Bear with me. I don't know why my music stopped. That sucks. I'll mess with it in a second. Hate when that happens, though. Then I go and get everything oily. I mean, I could wash my hands, but that takes extra time. All right. There we go. That's enough to get the push rod out, and boy, oh boy, that thing's just about as crooked as our politicians. Look at that. You see that? Whoa. Yeah. And that's what a stuck valve does to a push rod. Man, oh man, that stinks. Whew. Well, we just got to, wow. Well, at least it only happened on one. I feel like a real dummy because I always pull the valve covers and I didn't on this thing. It was stored in a garage, so I was told, the last 20 years, and it's only been sitting 2 years, and I went with the story, but after this, I don't know. I don't know. Man, that sucks. That thing, seriously, that's freaking almost as crooked as our freaking politicians. This thing won't ever run right, being that crooked. Well, I know there's going to be a bunch of guys frowning upon this in the comments, and I know this is not what I should do, but I'm gonna go put this in the vise and just straighten her out a little bit. I'll be gentle. Yeah, what could go wrong, right? So every time I squeeze it together, you know, I achieved a little bit, but it just goes right back to its old shape. So I know this is even more frowned upon. I'm throwing a little bit of heat to it while I got it clamped in the vise straight. That'll speed up those molecules in the metal and get all bouncing back and forth off each other. And then once they cool, they'll hold the position that they're in. We'll get this thing to roll across the table with little to no wobble. Alright guys, I'll bring you over here and show you what's going on at the bench. It's a mess. Definitely shouldn't be running the torch next to all the sawdust, but I'll be careful. So we got her clamped in there, and it's still just not quite, you know, perfect. We'll have to do this a few different times in a few different places. Way better looking than what it was. And we'll do this a few times. Clamp it in there, heat it up, let it cool. Clamp it in there, heat it up, let it cool, spin it around, do that on all the different sides, get this thing where it's nice and straight. Then we'll drop her back in there. Let's let that cool, and let's finish pulling that rocker arm assembly up out of there. And then I'm going to take me a little hammer and tap on the valve. Why is that last one that's a bugger? We're getting her though, don't worry. This car is going to breathe fire today. In a good way. Bound determined. Might not have brakes, but if I get this sucker running, you bet your dollar I'm gonna bump this thing in gear and take it around the yard at least. I mean, it's only right, right? Alright, I'm gonna pause you guys.